Inflammatory political language triggered political violence in the elections of 1992, 1997, and 10 years later in 2007. Kenya is a plural society courtesy of the 2010 Constitution, and freedom of speech is as the people, the very foundation of the Kenyan democracy. But you don't have the untrammeled right to say what you like, whenever you like, and how you like, do you? So where do we draw the line on what's moral and what's legal?
Jua mtoto wa umbwa, si ni ukweli? Saizi mmekubali ni mtoto wa umbwa ama si mtoto wa umbwa? Ni mtoto wa umbwa ama si mtoto wa umbwa? Jambo la pili wa Kenya. It is our duty as Kenyan citizens to resist the Jubilee's manifesto of promoting poverty in Kenya. It is our duty as Kenyan citizens to resist Jubilee's manifesto of promoting negative ethnicity in this nation.
Also tonight, the Deputy President, William Ruto, after a quick morning cabinet meeting at State House, flew to the county of Kisii. And with COVID-19 protocols or guidelines barely observed by the public, is the second in command on a mission to elbow out Odinga from the region. Kenneth Kazungu has the answers. On News Compass tonight.
We take great exception to any reference of women and mothers in a way that demeans them. By dragging the name of Her Excellency Mama Ngina in their unfortunate utterances, the two crossed the line.
Wewe ni kama mamako angetukanwa hivyo na wewe wataka kuwa rais, ungesikiaje? Maana matusi yale wale vijana wamepeana, maana mimi sitawaita waheshimiwa, maana hawafai kuitwa waheshimiwa. Ni matusi ile wametusi hata mamako. Mahali yuko wajue pia yeye alitukana na hao vijana.
Rift Valley si ya Oscar Sudi na Ng'eno peke yao. Kama Kenya wanasema ni yao, Kenya na Rift Valley ni ya dunia mzima. And they cannot allow them and sit back as they preach hatred in the Republic of Kenya. Kwa hivyo rais, tunataka ucheze kama wewe.
Good evening. Day 10, September 2020. Exactly 4 years since the formation of the ruling Jubilee Party. Later, we'll have that discussion. I am Ayub Abdikadir Abdi. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Joyce Wamwangi. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The short SMS code 40920 and the hashtag on Twitter is News Compass. Approximately 400 people in Kenya commit suicide every year. According to the Ministry of Health's Chief Administrative Secretary, Dr. Rashid Aman, this is an alarming number to be reported in the country. And as the world marks World Suicide Prevention Day, a telecounseling center is being set up to offer psychological support to Kenyans to prevent the rising cases of suicide. And as our health affairs reporter Winnie Lubembe tells us, the harsh effects of the pandemic has exacerbated mental illnesses in the country.
Kenya has been ranked position 114 out of 175 countries with the highest number of suicide cases globally. However, what's more alarming is the increased cases of suicide by 58% since 2008.
1 out of 4 Kenyans has a mental health condition. So that means we're about 10 million Kenyans. Where is the seat for that 10 million Kenyans? In the Parliamentary Health Committee, in the board here at Madari Hospital. Where is our seat at KEMSA? Where is our seat at every health facility in this country?
Despite death by suicide being preventable, it remains the second largest cause of death, especially among people aged between 15 to 29 years.
For many years, mental health was something that we did not want to bring to the surface, something that we stigmatized and talked in harsh tones about it, whether in our households, in our communities, or within our society. But it is very clear now in this age of today that mental health still represents a very big part of the ailments, health ailments that face us and challenge us every day.
Speaking at Mathare National Teaching and Referral Hospital, Health CAS Dr. Rashid Aman said the goal to reduce suicide cases by 10% by 2020 needs to be relooked.
Already in 2020, almost moving towards the end of 2020, and I think we need to reflect back and see whether we have achieved that target.
Many more people are presenting with stress, anxiety, depression, and of course the attendant consequence of COVID-19, which is stigma.
With COVID-19 pandemic and disruption caused by the contagion, the situation is not any better. And as part of intervention to reduce suicide cases in the country, a telecounseling and psychiatry center is to be established to offer prevention and psychosocial support.
Suicide prevention hotline numbers that Kenyans can call into, receive counseling and guidance, and directions and instructions on where to seek appropriate care and for the conditions.
The commitment from health is to continue working very hard to implement the policies from the Ministry of Health, as well as to ensure that people are living in conditions that enable them to seek care, including mental health care, when they need it.
This as 143 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported from 3,854 samples tested in the last 24 hours, bringing the national tally to 35,603.
The youngest is a 9-month-old infant, and the oldest is 83 years. 85 are male, 58 are female.
490 new recoveries and 5 fatalities, which pushed the total number of recoveries to 22,047, and the total number of fatalities to 612 have been recorded. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Leaders across the political divide continue the castigation of lawmakers Oscar Sudi and his Emuru Abdikadir counterpart Yohana Ngeno for what they claim is lack of decorum in insulting the president. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta in central Kenya today was, however, quick to hit back, saying that the politicians should instead go and insult their mothers.
Leaders across the political divide continue to condemn the manner in which a section of politicians has allegedly hurled insults and used abusive language against the president ahead of the 2022 elections.
Our Inspector General, our DCI, I think the content is out there. There are laws against hate speech. There are also laws against insults.
Kwa mila zetu za Kiafrika, iwe ni kabila ya Kalenjin, ama ni Kikuyu, ama ni Mijikenda, ama ni Asomali, sisi tunaheshima sana na wazazi ambao wametuzaa, na kuna mtu ambaye ako na kichwa timamu ambaye anaweza kuwa akitukana mzazi, hasa kuleta mambo ya siasa kwa mambo ya kifamilia, atutumie siasa.
Nonetheless, the president did not hesitate to hit back at the politicians who attacked former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta while on his way to inspect the construction of a road from Nairobi through Kiambu County to Nyeri. The head of state, who did not take the insults lightly, gave the politicians an option. Leaders from Ukambani have condemned the use of abusive language and hate speech, especially coming from leaders who have a huge following.
Be held accountable. When people reach the point where you can threaten the president with arrest, I think the nation is taking the very wrong trajectory. We are talking about the insults to mothers. We have all somehow forgotten that this one gentleman threatened the head of state with arrest.
This comes after Emuru Abdikadir MP Yohana Ngeno and Kapsaret MP Oscar Sudi were recorded uttering unsavory remarks against President Uhuru Kenyatta. Ngeno, who was arrested on Monday evening over claims of incitement, has since been released on a 1 million shillings cash bail or 2 million shillings bond.
Murang'a County Governor Mwangi wa Iria has for the 4th time defied the Senate County Public Account and Investments Committee orders to present himself under the escort of the Inspector General of Police. Governor wa Iria had been ordered 2 weeks ago to appear before the committee to explain audit queries for several financial years. The committee, via its chair, Samson Ongeri, is set to make its ruling on Friday on the fate of the governor, who has so far obtained court orders restraining the Senate from ordering his arrest.
Thursday morning at State House, Nairobi, things were thick following an impromptu meeting coming on the heels of sharp division in the Jubilee government. Walking majestically, cabinet secretaries led the way in a meeting that will be characterized with silence, coupled with frowned faces. With both wearing face masks that hid their actual identity, their walking styles revealed that indeed something is boiling in their hearts. This is about the messy divorce between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. Moments after they all settled, Deputy President William Ruto made his way at State House. Ruto, looking so lonely and deserted, walked slowly and in a relaxed way towards a hotly anticipated meeting. He looked disturbed and concerned as he walked to a meeting with part of his political force, whom he has brushed shoulders with. Shortly, the head of state arrived, and indeed, silence engulfed the entire room, with only paper shuffling as they looked each other pensively. William Ruto's meeting part of his political force, led by the Cabinet Secretaries Fred Matiang'i of the Interior and the Coordination, Keriako Tobik of the Environment, Amtai Kagwe of Health, who on last week faced off over claims of disrespecting the head of state. Keriako Tobik had referred to William Ruto as a mere clerk, asking him to respect President Uhuru Kenyatta or else they face him. But this did not augur well with Ruto, who fired back, asking the public officers to refrain from engaging in political debates. To add insult to the injury, the meeting at State House follows after insightful remarks from the members of the parliament, Oscar Sud of Kapsaret and Johanna Nger of Abdikadir, against the head of state and his family. It is said several issues were discussed in a meeting geared towards implementing the Big Four agenda. However, it's alleged President Uhuru Kenyatta read Right Act to the leaders opposed to his agenda.
Walisema hasla hatakuja.
William Ruto hurriedly joined his supporters in Kisii County in what will be termed as vote hunt. Despite the country battling the coronavirus pandemic, political leaders have engaged an overdrive gear with early campaigns as leaders angle themselves for their succession campaigns in 2022. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Haemba.
Now, in an indication of the prime position that the Director General of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, General Mohammed Badi, does enjoy in the country, the DG will now attend all cabinet proceedings after he was today sworn in secrecy at State House in Nairobi, a ceremony which was presided over by President Uhuru Kenyatta. According to the statement by State House, Badi will now sit in all cabinet and subcommittee meetings. The elevation of the Director General is an indication of the level of trust that the President has in the DG, whom he has tasked with managing Nairobi County, after the Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko was arraigned in court for abuse of office charges. Sonko transferred some of the key functions of the county government to NMS, although the relationship between the two has been very cozy. Early this week, Badi, when he appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Governance, complained that Sonko was frustrating his efforts to transform the city, although the governor has since denied the claims made by Mohammed Badi. Deputy President William Ruto is without a doubt on a campaign trail, making a tour of Kisii County this afternoon, just days after completing a two-day tour of the coast region. The Deputy President seems to be a man on a dicey mission politically of courting areas perceived to be the strongholds of the ODM party leader and his sworn enemy, Raila Odinga.
After a morning of running battles between police and rival factions who are pro and anti-DP Ruto Kisii tour,
Walisema hasla hatakuja. Nimekuja sijakuja.
the country's second in command was at the Nyanchwa grounds later in the afternoon, where he used the platform to fire a political salvo. at those who called out his allies for making comments that could lead to war.
Sisi tunataka amani katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Wale wanasema tunataka amani Kenya yetu, nione kwa mkono.
The DP waged on with his message of what he says is fighting for the well-being of the common mwananchi, who has been greatly affected by the effects of the novel coronavirus.
Wakenya wengi hawana chakula. Wakenya wengi biashara zao zimeharibika. Wakenya wengi ile walikuwa wanafanya kazi mahali nyingi zimefungwa.
This despite throwing the COVID protocols out of the window with no social distancing observed and little to no masks.
Saa hizi tuko na shida ya corona. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
The man who has since fallen out with his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, is seemingly on the run to chart his own political path by looking to penetrate areas perceived to be strongholds of his arch-enemy, Raila Odinga.
Na mimi nataka niwaambie nimefika hapa kama deputy president. Na nitaenda kuongea na watu wa bodaboda. Mwenye ako na kisirani ajipange. Ama ni aje? Na nitarudi tena ili tufanye na wamama mboga. Kwani watadu?
The DP who condemned the incidents of violence witnessed in the morning.
Wale ambao wanataka kutumia rasilimali za county ama rasilimali za provincial administration vibaya, ati wananunua vijana wapigane, tuwaambie shame on you.
Was accompanied by Kisii Deputy Governor Joash Maangi, MPs Silvanus Osoro of South Mogirango and John Kiarie of Dagoretti South, among other area leaders.
Wale wanasiasa wanataka kushindana, wawachane na police, wawachane na provincial administration, wakuje kiwanja, wakutane na mimi.
There's no dog day in Kenya's politics. Now, locals in Chalamoko area in arid parts of Nguni Ward in Mwingi East Sub-County, Kitui County, are pleading with the county government of Kitui to come to their rescue. This as water crisis intensify. The locals say they are forced to trek for over 20 kilometers in search of the basic commodity.
Na sasa sisi tumechoka kabisa na watu wetu wamepata shida kubwa. Watoto wanaenda usiku, wengine na wakike, punda zetu zinakuliwa ni pisi, na sisi tuko na shida mingi, hatujui tutafanya namna gani. Kutoka mwezi wa 7 tarehe 12 hiyo ndovo yetu imeharibika, hiyo mbwa yetu imeharibika. Na kutoka hapo tulipeana ripoti kwa maofisi yote ya kaunti na tukaambiwa tuongojee kwa muda wa wiki moja. Kutoka hapo kila wiki tunauliza kwa nini naendelea. Tunaambiwa niongojeni kidogo.
Maji ambayo iko karibu ambayo tunashota iko kama kilomita 22, tunatembea hivyo kuelekea mtoni kila siku. Kwa hivyo tuko na shida tele ya maji. Manake watoto wetu lazima waamke usiku, waende washote maji usiku, ndio asubuhi mchana punda wapate wakati wa kula. Na hakika watoto wetu wanapoamka na kwenda mtoni, manake ni wasichana, wengi ni wasichana, wafulana tayari wengi wamekimbia, wametoroka manyumbani, manake huu wakati wa corona hawako shule. Kwa hivyo wakati tunaachilia wasichana wanaenda kushota maji, huko wanambano na wanaume, wanakutana na wanaume, wanawatesa kule. Wasichana wetu wengi wako na mimba, hatujui wenyewe ni kina nani.
Na tunazumbuka sana. Unajua watu wengine tukiwa tumepata mbao hapa, watu wengi waliuza punda kwanza. Na wako na shida nyingi ni kununua maji. Mara hapa tunauziwa maji poti, mtungi, na tuko na shida sana.
Sisi tunaona kwamba kulingana na ile manifesto governor alikuwa ametupatia na ameahidi wana Kitui, ni kama amepotoka na ametoka katika misingi ya utendakazi kulingana na manifesto yake. Kwa sababu hapa alizungumzia maji, alizungumzia kilimo, alizungumzia elimu, alizungumzia mambo ya barabara. Lakini sasa hii imekuwa serikali ya biashara.
I am not Nick Mwendua's project. I was the one who sponsored him when he started football in 2013. This is according to Tom Alila, who is vying for the Football Kenya Federation NEC member in Nairobi County. According to Alila, Nairobi is a hub potentially for talents across the city if only the right people will ascend to power. Our very own sports affairs reporter, Davis Mberia, had a sit-down with him, and here is the update.
The quest of every fan, player and soccer stakeholder is to see the state of football in the country grows to reach the international level, and this can only be achieved if the right structures from the management will be put in place. As the national and county FKF polls nears, every candidate is playing at peak of his style to woo voters for their respective positions. Tom Alila, who served as FKF National Executive Member for Nyanza South from 2013 to 2016, is in the race for the same seat, but this time round switching to Nairobi.
The people who are in Nairobi were Nick friends, the current president, and people have been very unhappy the way they were micromanaging, especially in refereeing. You find that if they don't like you, they'll make sure your team doesn't come in. Women football, professionalizing it, making it at par. So they had little issues. So they needed an independent NEC member like me.
Previously, Alila announced that he was battling for the presidential position, but he made an about-turn for the NEC member seat in Nairobi.
The field was overcrowded. Like where I come from, there are 5 Nyanza people who are running for, I think 4 of them, either president or running mates. So we were going to crowd the field. But I decided also, Nairobi people had told me that they have been having issues. So still my principles, that the foundation I was running on, especially on development of football at Mashinani, putting surfaces here in Nairobi, it's really important.
Alila has vowed that he is not a project of anyone as he gears up for the election.
I think I should be the one saying I sponsored Nick when he started football, right in 2013. I was the one sponsoring him. So there's no way that now he can sponsor me. I'm the one who brought him into football. When Sharks was just hanging around those times, even he didn't succeed to be a NEC member of Nairobi. So those issues that we have paid our own money, we've paid to the board, and those issues of saying that he can be NIC projects are nonsensical. Yeah. I'm the one who brought Nick into, I was his boss. So it cannot be the other way around. Yeah. I've been in administration longer than him.
His mission is to grow talent from the grassroots that will form strong youth team, strengthening the already exercising women football and taking care of the welfare of players, coaches and referees. Alila, who served in the administration prior to the entrance of Nick Mwendua's late office, will clash with outgoing Nairobi East Branch Chairman Michael Ouma and Kawangware-based Kakamega United founder Isaac Masharia. Davis Mberia, Ebru Sports.
The curtains come down on the primetime news. Coming up on News Compass, the discussion on where do we draw the line on what's moral, what's legal, on the eve of the condemnation for members of parliament Johanna Ngeno and Oscar Sudi on the utterances they made over the weekend and on Monday. And we'll be joined shortly for that discussion by the former Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Beatrice Alachi, who is former nominated senator. And the Member of Parliament for Bahati constituency, Kimani Ngunjiri, will be joining us from his constituency in the county of Nakuru. And the former Ndiwa Member of Parliament, Agostino Neto, will be with us also on the broadcast as we discuss that. And where do we draw the line, despite free speech being the fundamental and the foundation of the Kenyan democracy? The hashtag on Twitter, News Compass, the short SMS code 40920. We are back after the break here on the broadcast.